Let's talk about church traditions, especially things like Christmas and Easter. Do we observe them? Do we not observe them? You have people that do observe them. You have people that get radically anti-Christmas, anti-Easter for a variety of different reasons. And so these are just not a new issue to divide the church over, but it's been happening since the 2nd century, so why not one more? But we need to look at these things simply biblically. Now, Judaism has many traditions, and often Judaism is criticized for its many traditions, but often those who are criticizing Judaism for its traditions fail to recognize how many traditions the church has picked up, how many traditions you find in the church you won't be validated in Scripture, such as, say, observing Sunday as a Sabbath. That's a tradition. It's not a biblical teaching. Or Sunday laws. Those are traditions, not biblical teachings. And many other examples we can give. So keep in mind the church has not done much better, often developing traditions and believing those traditions are as obligatory as, say, the Mosaic Law or rabbinic traditions. Now, the issue comes out with the issue of Christmas. Should Christians observe Christmas? Let me say a few things. First of all, as far as the date of Christmas, the church has two traditions. The Western Church goes by December 25th. The Eastern Church goes by January 5th or January 6th. But as far as Scripture, while the Scriptures now we know that he was born somewhere between 7 and 6 BC, we don't have enough information to know when during that year he was born. We simply don't know. So the important thing is that he was born. In the Messianic circles, they often try to prove he was born on Passover or he was born on Tabernacles, trying to connect his birth with a Jewish festival. But the thing you see in the Gospels is that whenever Jesus said something or did something on a Jewish holy day, they mention it, they connect it with that holy day. Now, two of the Gospels provide the details of his birth, both Matthew and Luke. Neither one connects the birth of the Messiah with any specific Jewish holiday. And Matthew was specifically written to Jews. Luke wrote to Greeks, so he may have not bothered to mention it. But if he was born on a holy day, a festival day, then Matthew, of all people, would have mentioned that because that would be significant to a Jewish audience to whom he was writing. But the fact is that when they failed to mention any Jewish holiday, shows he was born on a normal day. He was not born on a holy day or a festival day. He was born on a normal day. So we don't know when he was born during the year. So I would say the day of his birth is purely neutral. If you wish to observe it, you're free to do so. If you wish not to observe it, you're free not to do so. It's a personal choice. However, if we're going to observe it, then we should observe it not the way it's done today with Christmas trees and spending a lot of money and falling into debt, giving each other presents. We should get to observe it as a gathering of believers coming together to focus on the passages of Scripture that prophesied his birth and then how it was fulfilled and things of that nature. That would be the way believers should observe it. In one of our congregations that we planted, they want to go ahead and have a special day. They go ahead and do it on the December 25th, but they call it Yom Yeshua, the day of Jesus, Yom Yeshua. And they observe the birth of the Messiah, they honor it. But they honor it biblically, coming together and reading about it and learning about it and the importance of it. And therefore, it could be observed that way. So again, does the Bible require the observance of Yeshua's birthday? The answer is no. There's no festival required. Are we free to do it? Yes. Are we free not to do it? That's also correct. It's a free will choice for every believer can make. Now we come to the issue of Easter Sunday. But it's unknown that Easter Sunday was actually part of an anti-Semitic campaign, because in the first 4 centuries of church history, there were a great number of Jewish believers, but they continued to observe their Jewish holy days. They continued to identify themselves as Jews, not as non-Jews. And they insisted on observing the death of the Messiah and the resurrection of the Messiah during Passover, which is when it happened. And so they observed the death of the Messiah on Passover. So when the Messianics got together, they didn't only observe the Passover as our redemption from Egypt, but also our redemption from sin through the Messiah's blood. And so they would focus on that on the first day of Passover, which is when he died. And then they would observe the resurrection on the Feast of First Fruits, because the fulfillment of the Feast of First Fruits was the resurrection of the Messiah, according to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 20 to 23. And so the resurrection was observed by the Messianic Jews during the Passover season. That began to change, especially with one of the church big saints called Chrysostom. And Chrysostom was extremely anti-Semitic. In fact, he has a collection of sermons. It's called the 8 Homilies Against the Jews. 8 Homilies Against the Jews. And he wasn't just targeting Jews in general, he was targeting Messianic Jews and Gentiles who observed the resurrection at the time of the Passover. And he was able to influence one of the church councils to say that we should observe the resurrection only on Easter Sunday. Whether it falls at Passover time or not doesn't matter. We observe Easter Sunday based upon the spring equinox. We observe Easter Sunday as the day of the resurrection. And while sometimes it does come during Passover, most times it does not. And furthermore, those who will not observe Easter Sunday are to be expelled from the church. That's when you have a separation in the 4th century between the Messianic Jewish community and all other believers, Gentile believers. Most churches today, of course, observe Easter Sunday, but they're not doing for anti-Semitic reasons. They don't even know the origin of Easter Sunday. It's just a tradition. It's simply a tradition. It's a tradition that won't be changeable. But they should simply respect Messianic Jews that choose not to observe Easter Sunday because of its history, but they choose to observe the death and the resurrection at the Passover season, because that's when it really happened.